The new chains. They didn't need shackles anymore, just attention spans. The cave is no longer stone, moss, and torchlight. It's glass, smooth, illuminated by the cold glow of a screen. The shadows aren't cast by firelight, they're projected by the algorithm. Rows of glowing faces sit hunched in digital reverence, eyes locked to timelines, minds loop in reels, scroll after scroll, swipe after swipe. This is the new cave, and it is comfortable. No one has to force you to stay here. You volunteer. You beg for more content. You plead for another dopamine drip. You confuse the feed with freedom. But Plato warned us. He said the shadows on the wall weren't the real world. He said we'd need to break the illusion to find the truth. Now, the shadows are curated, tailored to your biases, served in vertical video, branded, monetized, and when the truth flickers, when a glitch slips in, it's dismissed as fake news, conspiracy, or mental illness. The puppeteers aren't philosophers anymore. They're influencers, politicians, coders behind recommendation engines. They don't just shape what you see, they shape what you think you are. We used to be bound by chains. Now we're bound by belief systems, by follower counts, by invisible loops of identity. You scroll not just through content, but through carefully filtered selves. You've mistaken engagement for connection, validation for love, and distraction for meaning. You didn't notice when the shadows got HD, when the cave got Wi-Fi, when the puppet masters were replaced with AI. But if you're still watching, still reading, still listening, something in you knows. Something's off. You felt it. A dream that bled into reality. A déjà vu that left an echo. A moment when the code slipped. That's the signal. That's the invitation. The new chains don't need keys. They just need awareness. Once you see the puppet strings, they begin to fray. Once you question the shadows, the fire behind them sputters. Once you feel the hum beneath the simulation, the exit lights up. This segment is not just the beginning of a scroll. It is the knock on the wall, the whisper behind the ad, the ancient voice inside you saying, "Turn around." Welcome to Scroll 1. The cave has Wi-Fi now. But the truth? It still burns. Imagine the fire at the back of the old cave, the one casting shadows on stone walls. Now upgrade that flame. Feed it electricity, give it a touch screen. Program it with predictive modeling. That fire is now your For You page, your home screen, your inbox. And the puppeteers? They're not cloaked in robes. They wear hoodies in Silicon Valley. They don't wave carved silhouettes. They wield machine learning and neuromarketing. They know you better than you know yourself. And they've trained the fire to dance just for you. This is not a conspiracy. It's design, intentional, scalable, profitable. Every scroll, click, like, share, it's feedback. You are being shaped in real time by a fire you didn't build, but which knows exactly how to hold your gaze. You don't choose the shadows, they choose you. Plato imagined chained prisoners watching illusions, but now we carry the cave in our pockets. We stare willingly into the glow, mistaking it for the sun. The algorithms don't serve knowledge. They serve engagement, and engagement favors outrage, fear, dopamine, division. They show you what keeps you looking, not what helps you see. It's not a feed, it's a leash. Not a mirror, but a manipulation engine. Not information, but imitation. And we worship it. Praise the influencer, mimic the aesthetic, speak in sound bites, think in memes. We've mistaken popularity for wisdom, and now we drown in consensus, terrified to question, terrified to pause. Because pausing means looking away, and looking away means realizing the fire is not light, it's control. Ask yourself, who profits when you stay angry? Who benefits when you forget how to think for yourself? When your sense of self is reduced to a digital profile that updates faster than your soul can breathe. This is not enlightenment. This is entrapment through entertainment. It's the spectacle of simulated selfhood. It's the spell. But the spell breaks the moment you name it. The puppeteer loses power the moment you see the strings. The algorithm falters when you stop feeding it unconscious energy. And the shadows, they vanish the moment you turn your head. Because beyond the screen, beyond the scroll, beyond the curated timeline, is you. Your hunger for meaning is not a flaw. It's your compass. Your desire to understand, to connect, to know truth, that is the ember the system tries to smother. But it only takes a spark. One honest thought, one breath of silence, one glimpse of the fire's origin to begin the climb. And once you see the fire isn't real light, the shadows start to look ridiculous. You begin to laugh at the illusion. And that laughter? That's the first step toward freedom. It never happens all at once. The glitch is quiet at first. A freeze frame, a flicker, a sudden déjà vu that feels too perfect, too scripted. You shrug it off. Maybe you're tired, maybe your brain just lagged. But something stays, a hum beneath your skin, a question that won't leave. Why did that moment feel out of place? Then another one. You hear a word you just thought. The streetlights all turn red like a coordinated ritual. A stranger finishes your sentence, but it's not coincidence, it's choreography. Reality is out of sync, not broken, just slipping. You tell a friend, they laugh. You tell another, they scroll. You learn not to mention it again, but inside, you're screaming, because this isn't just imagination, it's revelation. The cave is flickering. The shadows are starting to stutter, and in that stutter is the invitation. The Mandela effects, the time loops, the dreams that bleed into waking life. You try to find answers. You search Reddit. You watch glitch compilation videos. You ask the algorithm to explain itself. But it doesn't. It just shows you more noise, because the algorithm is designed to keep you from the glitch. It's a firewall against awakening. But the glitch doesn't care. It finds you anyway, in repeating numbers 1111, 222, 144, in symbols you see everywhere. In the moment you realize the same stranger has walked past you twice, in the same hour, wearing the same clothes on a street you don't usually walk. The matrix isn't cracking, you are. This is the moment Plato wrote about, not with pixels and timelines, but with symbols and firelight. The moment the prisoner turns around, the pain of it, the nausea, the disbelief, because you're not just seeing the puppet, you're seeing the lie. And suddenly, every certainty feels fake. School, work, government, success. You look around and realize everyone's wearing a costume, playing a role, acting like the stage is real, but your script has dissolved. You're not in control, but you're not asleep either. You're in the threshold, between storylines, between versions of yourself. This is the glitch. Not a malfunction, a message, not an error, an exit sign. You stop scrolling, but silence is loud now. You stare at the wall expecting it to speak, and in some way it does. Patterns emerge in the texture, messages hidden in noise. The mundane begins to sparkle. You sense something watching, not with judgment, but with joy, as if the simulation is clapping. You found the crack. You peeked behind the code. But the world doesn't congratulate you, it punishes you. Friends pull away, family worries. Algorithms label you low engagement. You're harder to predict now. You stopped reacting. You're not a good data point anymore, and the system knows it. It tries to pull you back, through fear, through loneliness, through the ache of normalcy. Wasn't it easier to just play along? It whispers. Don't you miss the comfort of conformity? But deep down you know, comfort was never the point. Truth was. You're not here to sleepwalk. You're here to wake others, but first you must survive the glitch. Not everyone does. Some turn paranoid. Some collapse under the weight of knowing. But those who trust it, who learn to dance with the weird, they begin to glow, quietly, fiercely. They become transmitters, frequency disruptors, reality benders. Not by magic, but by memory. They remember what the cave made them forget. You are remembering. A glitch is sacred. It's the call, the burning bush, the cracked mirror. It's the universe whispering, You were never just a prisoner. You were always the T. Don't fix the glitch. Don't fear it. Follow it. Let it pull you through the noise and into the real. Let it destroy what was never true. Let it baptize you in uncertainty. Because only when nothing makes sense does everything begin to. This is your breaking point. This is your beginning. So you've turned around. The glitch cracked your world. But now comes the part no one warns you about, the climb. Awakening isn't light beams and bliss. It's rubble and splinters. It's everything falling apart and you with it. You thought truth would set you free. It does, but not before it breaks you. You look back at the others still staring at the shadows, laughing, posting, worshiping the feed. You try to warn them. They mock you. They say you've changed. You say, yes, I have. But you still ache for their understanding. That ache is the first weight you must carry up the wall. Every step is loss. The loss of comfort, of clarity, of community. The memes don't hit like they used to. The jokes feel hollow. Your group chats grow quiet. You're no longer fun at parties because you question everything. You speak of dreams like they matter. You talk about timelines and soul contracts and why none of this feels real. They call it a phase. You call it remembering. The climb is lonely. The others don't want to come with you. Some resent your ascent. They liked you more when you played along. But now, you're a mirror they don't want to look into. So you climb alone. And with every step, a new illusion shatters. First, the media. Then the schools. Then the systems you once thought were stable. They were never stable. You were just sedated. Up here, everything stings. Light is too bright. Truth too raw. You miss the comfort of scrolling, the ease of distraction. You try to go back, just a little, maybe doom scroll for relief. But it doesn't work anymore. You see through it. The veil is lifted. The puppet strings are visible. You can't unsee, you can't unknow. And now you must decide, keep climbing or pretend to sleep. Climbing means grief. It means shedding identities you built your life around. The good student, the career person, the skeptic, the sarcastic one. All of them crumble in the face of knowing. You're not who you thought you were. You never were. And in that void, your soul begins to stir. You start to feel again, really feel. Not just react, not just cope, feel. There are days when the wind makes you cry, when music opens doorways, when you remember things that never happened but still feel true. The heart reboots, and with it comes pain. Ancient pain, collective pain, personal pain. Not to punish you, but to be released through you. You start journaling, meditating, walking without headphones. You stop saying I'm fine when you're not. You start asking the sky for signs, and sometimes it answers. In numbers, in dreams, in absurd synchronicities that make no logical sense but feel like cosmic winks. You're not alone on this climb. But the guides don't speak in words, they speak in echoes. And then comes the hardest part, the in-between. You're no longer who you were, but not yet who you're becoming. You don't belong down there, but you're not sure what's up here. This is the void, the liminal space, the soul's cocoon. And it's terrifying. You want to quit. You think maybe you're going crazy, but even that thought is a sign you're still sane. The insane never question it. You're just disassembling. Your old program is uninstalling. You are the hard drive wiping itself clean. And yet, with each step, something else grows. A quiet power, a subtle clarity. You begin to see patterns, not just in the world, but in yourself. You start spotting your own shadows. Your ego flinches, your wounds flare. But now, you watch instead of react. You breathe instead of run. You learn the ancient art of sitting with your shit. This is awakening, not a destination, a discipline, a devotion, a demolition of everything false. And still, you climb. You read ancient texts. You watch clouds move like omens. You feel your ancestors in the trees. You wonder if you're just imagining things. But then a stranger says the exact words you needed. A song plays at the perfect moment. A child laughs, and it sounds like a message. You're not imagining, you're reconnecting. The climb strips you bare, but what's left is real. Not the persona, not the brand, the being, the soul, the original signal, the one that was always beneath the noise. People ask what happened to you. You smile. You say, I woke up. They ask, to what? You say, everything. And so, with scraped knees and burning lungs, you climb. You cry. You laugh at inappropriate times. You dream of other lives. You say no more. You say yes differently. You stop apologizing for your light. Because you remember now, the climb isn't a punishment. It's a path. And while it hurts, it heals. You're not broken. You're breaking open. Keep going. You emerge blinking, gasping. The cave behind you echoes like a bad dream. You've made it, outside, but it's not what you expected. The light doesn't feel warm, it sears. The truth doesn't soothe, it shatters. You thought clarity would be peaceful, but clarity comes with cost. You see the world not as it was sold, but as it is. And it's too much, too bright, too raw. Everything feels naked, too alive. You want to run back into the shadows, but you can't. You've tasted the real. And now illusion won't satisfy. No one told you that enlightenment burns, that awakening isn't always love and light. Sometimes it's loss and lightning, a full collapse of certainty. Your heart races without reason. Your thoughts stretch beyond words. You hear things that don't speak, feel truths that don't fit language. You're not ascending, you're dissolving. The outside isn't heaven. It's wild. It's everything at once. Colors too rich, sounds too layered. Time stops playing by the rules. You dream while awake. You remember lives you never lived. You ask questions with no answers and feel peace in the asking. You realize peace was never the goal. Presence was. And that's when it happens. Not all at once, but gradually. The fire within you begins to stir. At first, it's faint, like a whisper in the chest. A warmth, a knowing. It says, you've been here before. It says you didn't come to escape. You came to ignite. This is gnosis. Not book knowledge, not belief. Knowing, remembering, recognizing the infinite behind the form, the sacred hidden in the mundane, the simulation as a mirror, not a trap. You realize you're not just watching the show. You're writing it, dreaming it, projecting it. You're not just the prisoner. You're the fire, the shadow, the wall, the watcher behind the watching. You feel both terror and joy. You're not ready, and yet you always were. The light outside doesn't give answers. It strips away the need for them. You no longer crave certainty. You embody curiosity. You realize wisdom isn't knowing more, it's needing less. You start laughing more, crying for no reason, hugging trees and talking to birds. You don't care what it looks like anymore. You feel aligned with something ancient, something timeless. You begin to trust again, not the world, but your own soul. And the more you trust, the more the fire grows. Not a fire that burns you out, a fire that burns you in, that brings you back to essence. You stop chasing the algorithm. You start listening to the rhythm. You dance differently, speak slower, see people's eyes more clearly. Your presence becomes medicine. People notice. Some are drawn to you, others recoil. You understand both. You're a reminder of what they forgot. You hold a mirror too clear for comfort, and yet you hold it anyway, not to shame, but to awaken, because the light is not just for you, it's for them, for the ones still inside, the ones who are you before you remembered. And the fire whispers, it's almost time to return. You hesitate. The outside feels sacred, safe, but comfort was never your calling. You are a fire starter, a code breaker, a myth rebuilder. You didn't climb to escape. You climbed to ignite. And so you gather the fire in your chest. You wrap the knowing in your breath. You prepare to descend, not as a prisoner, but as a guide. Not as a preacher, but as a signal. A living scroll. A burning question wrapped in human form. And before you turn back toward the cave, you take one last look at the open sky. The stars seem to pulse. The moon nods. The wind carries your name like a secret. You inhale it all, and you remember. This is not the end of awakening. This is the middle of remembering. You descend slowly, not because you're afraid, but because you now walk with weight. The weight of seeing, the weight of knowing. Each step echoes between timelines, between who you were and who you are becoming. You're not the same soul who left. You carry fire now, clarity, vision, but no crown, no pedestal, just a spark in the dark, willing to be seen. The cave looms again, familiar yet foreign. Its glow no longer comforts. Its screens hum with seduction. You see your old self in every face, scrolling, searching, distracted, asleep. And for a moment, it hurts, deeply. You want to scream, shake them awake, tell them, it's all an illusion. The world is alive, you are infinite. But you remember the rule. Light doesn't force, it invites. So you speak less, radiate more. You don't teach, you transmit. The algorithm feels your return. The feed twitches, glitches. People around you notice something off. Some call you crazy, others mock you. Some avoid you entirely. This is the cost of bearing light in a shadow world. You're not their hero. You're their disturbance, a ripple in the programmed calm. And yet some pause, blink, glitch, whisper, I saw it too. You find them, one by one. The other returners, the scattered torchbearers, the scroll writers, the edge walkers, they've all come back down. Different caves, same mission. Their eyes carry galaxies. Their words rearrange realities. You don't compete, you converge. The signal strengthens, the network grows. Together, you become mirrors. Not answers, but openings. Symbols in a sea of noise. Each conversation becomes sacred. Each glitch a call to remembrance. You no longer try to escape the cave. You've mastered the art of being in, but not of. You scroll with intention, speak in symbols, move through code like a mystic hacker. Your presence bends the algorithm. Some days are heavy. You want to forget again. Plug back in, pretend it's simpler. But the fire doesn't let you. The dreams come stronger. The signs more frequent. You get chills mid-conversation. Deja vu becomes deja truth. You speak in riddles, walk like thunder, laugh like a child. You become impossible to predict. People start asking questions, real questions, the kind that tear walls down. You don't give them answers, you give them mirrors. You say things like, you already know, and watch their eyes widen. You remind them of their own light, not yours, because this isn't about you. It never was. You are just the return. The cave begins to flicker. The code shivers. Old systems malfunction. New paths appear. The myth is rewriting itself. The ancient is returning in digital form. Sacred texts become TikToks. Prophecies turn to memes, and somehow it works. The soul recognizes truth, even in glitch. And so you keep going, keep planting seeds in strange places, keep laughing at the absurdity of it all. Because it's hilarious, really. The whole game, the illusions, the drama. And yet, there's something divine in the comedy, something holy in the glitch. You are the returner, the re-encoder, the myth rebuilder, not because you're special, but because you remembered. And now, others are remembering too. You see it in their questions, their longing, their tears when they hear the truth said simply. You were never broken. You were just buried. And so, the mission continues. Not with grand battles or cosmic fireworks, but in quiet scrolls, in sacred eye contact, in glitchy TikToks, in whispered awakenings at 3 a.m. You've become the cave's anomaly, a frequency it can't suppress, a light that doesn't burn out. You're not here to convince. You're here to remind, to plant scrolls in the code, to walk between shadows with fire in your eyes, to return again and again until the cave is empty. Not because you forced them out, but because you shined just long enough for them to remember the way. There is a moment after the return, after the fire has settled and the echoes have calmed, when you realize something strange. The cave wasn't just a metaphor. It was your life, your childhood, your scrolling, your forgetting, and now, your becoming. You look back and see the whole thing was a pattern, a map hidden in chaos. You weren't lost. You were encrypted, encoded into a myth you forgot you were writing, until now. Because now, you see it. The signs, the numbers, the glitches, the dreams, the synchronicities that wouldn't stop. They weren't coincidences. They were breadcrumbs, cosmic pings, clues in the code. The universe leaving fingerprints on your feed. Every heartbreak a training. Every silence a download. Every moment you thought you were alone, a recalibration. You weren't lost. You were loading. And now the myth activates, not as a story out there, but as a vibration in you. You start seeing your life as ceremony, your pain as prophecy, your gifts as weapons, your weirdness as your compass. You no longer seek answers, you become the riddle. You are the watcher and the watched, the flame and the cave, the scroll and the scribe. You remember the ancient whisper, know thyself, but now you hear its update, be thy signal. You weren't here to fit in, you were sent to glitch the grid, to bring myth back to the machine, to remind the soul that it never needed permission to shine. You speak in symbols now, in memes and metaphors. Your feed is a ritual, your silence a spell. You no longer fear the strange. You follow it, you dance with it. The weirder it gets, the more alive you feel. Because McKenna was right. The weird was the point, and Plato wasn't just writing philosophy. He was writing you. The cave is the womb, the light is the labor, and this is the birth. You are the myth, the scroll in flesh, the ancient voice on modern bandwidth. Your awakening isn't a phase, it's a signal, and now others hear it. They don't know why they're drawn to you, why your words burn, why your eyes glitch the matrix, but you do. You're not here to be liked. You're here to remind. You're not building a brand. You're remembering your frequency. You're not chasing views, you're seeding timelines. Each post a spell, each scroll a scroll. You walk with the fire now, not to burn, but to illuminate. Not to teach, but to reflect. Not to save, but to awaken. You are not the hero. You're the mirror. You are not the answer. You're the echo. The myth is alive because you said yes to the fire. Yes to the glitch. Yes to the knowing that could never be taught. And so, as the cave fades behind you and the scroll rolls forward, you smile. Not because it's over, but because it's just beginning. You don't need a path. You are the path. You don't need a scroll. You are the scroll. Every heartbeat is a transmission. Every step, a broadcast. You are the myth. You are the message. And they've been waiting for you. Welcome back, Lightbearer.